Hey Jack,
Hmm?
why is there a open Zippo on your desk?
Welcome to Jack's Train of Thought. So, as many of you guys already know, I am a connoisseur of the video, and more specifically, the games. And I really do enjoy me sitting down, relaxing, and popping in a good game and playing it because I just do that to entertain myself and to relax. But recently, and it happens every few years or so, the media just decides to take a game that's come out recently, pinpoint anything that it might be skewed in an immoral fashion, and just prey on it. They pounce on it and devour it up, and it's very interesting to see. And specifically, we're going to be talking about three different games and three different controversy related stuffs that happened in like the past 2 weeks. It feels like no matter what happens, video games are always the cause of some sort of problem in society, despite problems in society existing way longer than video games did. We've got video games causing violence, video games causing sexism, and all this stuff. Loot boxes are gambling, all this stuff that's happening, and it's a very interesting dynamic to see how it just persistently keeps up in our culture, despite video games being widely accepted by almost everybody as just a given in this world. One of the prominent leaders of controversy in the video game industries is Rockstar. If you don't know who Rockstar is, you must not play video games at all, but Rockstar developed the Grand Theft Auto series, as well as a few other games, but Grand Theft Auto is their main kind of focus as far as the controversy in the news goes. People have been pointing to GTA for a lot of issues for as long as GTA's been around, essentially. And of course, Rockstar probably doesn't care because no publicity is bad publicity for a game, and GTA 5 still reaches the top sales in games every week. It's always in like the top 10 most sold games of the week, consistently for like every week, for like since it's come out. It's insane. Part of this is probably due to all the controversy surrounding it, if I'm being completely honest. There's probably a big chunk of it that has gotten that to the public eye and just pushes the game sales higher and higher. In their most recent endeavor, Rockstar released a game called Red Dead Redemption 2, the sequel to, guess what, Red Dead Redemption. And we have it, and it's a pretty fun game. But people just couldn't let go because one person, one YouTuber, decided to make a video. And, oh boy. So a YouTube user by the name of Shirako decided to make a video where he would punch a feminist in the face in the video game. A feminist that was in the video game, a NPC, no significance to the storyline or any quest that the game gave, just a person who was there. He would listen to her for like to talk and shout for like a minute, and then he just went up and like punched her in the face, and it was like super funny and kind of hilarious and just kind of awkward. But then he made a few more videos that gaining him traction of him doing various things that you can do in the game, and like feeding her to an alligator, which is, it's pretty great. It's pretty funny. But that video in particular kind of got him the public eye in a bit of a bad way. Red Dead Redemption 2 players are excited to attack and kill feminists in the game. I don't know if excited or players is a really good way to put it there. There was one player that we know of, one player who made some good videos on it. That's about it. That's not necessarily encouraging all players to do said actions, especially in an open world game where you can do whatever you want.
Wait, you should go scroll back up a little bit. Content warning. This post contains discussion of violence against women. It's not even real women.
Yes.
Video game.
Hey, you're right. Do you know why? Because real women wear fine linen. That's one thing I've learned about real women. These aren't even real women right here.
Yeah, that's not fine linen.
It's not fine linen at all. Since the events of the game take place in 1899, 20 years before women in the United States got the right to vote, it features suffragettes, women activists who fought for the right to vote in public elections. Given that Red Dead Redemption 2 is the biggest video game of the year, and that much of the video game culture is ensconced in blatant misogyny, it's not surprising, but still upsetting that some players are delighted that the game lets them beat, abuse, and kill these characters. What? Excuse me? The industry is ensconced in blatant misogyny. Really? Really? We're bringing up this again? Bringing up the video games cause sexism deal? Okay, sure. Yeah, that sounds great. Oh, man. This is like the whole Gamergate thing. Ugh. I can't believe this is still an argument going on in 2018. This horse has been beaten to death. There is nothing left to say about it. And for the record, it's not kill, abuse, beat these characters. It's any character. You can do this to pretty much any character in the game. Like, it's an open world game. The whole appeal of an open world game is that you can do whatever you want. Tim, you want a high five?
No.
Oh.
I was raising my hand to interject.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, feel free to then.
Also, a lot of games, open world games, the game actually rewards you for being a good person rather than being a villainous person. Most games that I can think of that are open world are that way, where they reward you for being good rather than evil.
Yeah. If anything, it might be fun to play as an evil person who kills everybody in every town, but it doesn't push for you to be that way in most open world games. They try not to push you in any direction. But in this game specifically, if you commit a crime, you're usually found out, you have a bounty put on your head, you are an outlaw, you're no longer welcome in those towns. And this is the case for most of these types of games. The underlying issue here is that Rockstar is not responsible for this. This article headlines with Rockstar Games is pushing for this. They're trying to condone it. They're pushing for players to take these actions. But it's not Rockstar's fault in the slightest. I give Rockstar a lot of crap because I'm not a huge fan of a lot of their games. But they're nowhere in the wrong for this. They're just creating a neutral world where you can do neutral things. You can go whatever direction you want, but you're going to be rewarded for picking the right path, for picking the good path. I'd like to segue into something a little weird to me, which was that the channel that uploaded these videos in the first place, Shiriko, his channel was taken down for a while. His channel was taken down, and it's back up now, and you can see the videos, but it doesn't change the fact that YouTube said that he violated their guidelines by showing violent or graphic imagery in his videos, and took his channel down for that. I cannot describe how ridiculous this is, considering that you have movie trailers and movie clips up on YouTube that show graphic imagery and stuff all the time. They show this all the time, and they don't get taken down. Nothing's bad for them. This guy's is in a video game, a game that he did not make. He's playing it, and it has a little bit of, he punches a woman in the face for like the first video, and maybe he might do a few other things where it's not even that graphic in the game. It's not even like a very violent thing. There's movie trailers out there that are more violent than those videos are. Of course, people are quick to point out how stupid this was on YouTube's behalf, because just having the blatant hypocrisy here and the attempts to lean a certain way with the media being like, oh, I want to be in their standing, their good standings. I don't want any bad publicity to my platform. It was 100% a PR move for one side of an issue. It was 100% that, and it wasn't smart. Not because it's inherently wrong. They can take down videos when they want, and it's fine if they violate their guidelines. But if you're gonna take down that video, you're gonna have to take down a whole lot of other videos that violate those guidelines a lot more. Next meme. In our second story here, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, coming out in December, which I'm super excited for, got a little bit of backlash over a character named Mr. Game & Watch, who, through one of his little special attacks, he emulates for one split second a game that came out in the 1980s where he has a little bit of a feather on the back of his head and he holds a torch. And people took this to mean that it was a Native American stereotype and was offensive and should be taken off. Said attack that people got so upset about was this. Literally this. This is it. Does that even look like a feather coming out of his head? Because it sure doesn't to me. I'm not going to dwell too much on this article. There's not a whole lot I can really say about it, if I'm being completely honest. It's like Nintendo took it out. They made an apology saying we don't want it. We want to make it in a game that's welcoming to everybody, etc., etc. But who noticed that? It was in a Nintendo Direct for like a second. For 1 second, it shows it. It's a very, very short clip. Who saw that? Who took time out of their day, saw that, and was like, oh, ugh. You know, like who saw that and decided to make it into a talking point? This is the least offensive Native American related controversy I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen a lot. This is like this to me. I don't understand this whole deal right here. It was a character it's accurate to the game. The attack was accurate to the game. It came out in 1980. And there's nothing really inherently wrong about it. It's not really making a statement one way or the other. It's not saying that all Native Americans attack people with torches. There's no statement being made. It's simply a depiction, and not even a clear depiction. If I was a kid playing that game, nowhere in my head would I think, oh, this is clearly a Native American right here. This is Native American Mr. Game & Watch. This is Mr. Game & American. Like, what the heck? There's nothing there. It doesn't make sense to me. It does not make a lot of sense. But I digress. There's nothing a whole lot else to say about it. Nintendo's a company that wants to keep on good terms with everybody. They're probably the Disney, I'd say, of video game companies, except with even less racist origins. And honestly, Nintendo's move. It's nothing upsetting. It's one frame, really. I have nothing against it. I just find it dumb that people were upset about it in the first place. That's all I'm going to say about that one.
Hi, welcome to Tim's Caboose of Cognition. This week, I am talking about the controversy surrounding Rainbow Six Siege. It's a multiplayer game with lots of different characters that you can play as. Pretty similar to Overwatch in the way it's set up. The gameplay is very different, but other than that, it's just base model. They're about the same. So I've been playing Siege for about 2 years now, and I have tons of hours in the game, and it's just an overall fun game. It's challenging, it's stealthy at times. Other times it's just straight up gunfights where you're panicked and firing all over the place, and it's a thrill, honestly. But I digress. There's been a lot of controversy this week surrounding the game, and it's related to the expansion of the game from just the business standpoint of going to different countries and expanding their reach with the game. They are trying at the moment to reach the audience of China.
Stop that. Yeah, that feels weird. Ow! No, I don't like it at all. Go away.
So, hey Jack, I'm gonna take you on a little adventure. This is called the.
You better stop that right now, sir, or I will. I'm not even testing right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
See, this is what I have to deal with every single time you do anything. In order to reach China, they had to abide by the laws of the different images that they're able to show within their game. So, what Ubisoft had to do was they had to take out skull imagery, they had to remove knife icons, they were required to take out blood. All minimal things. But they make the game a little bit more immersive. Is blood in the game a bad thing? No, it's a realistic shooter. Is blood not in the game a bad thing? No, it can appeal to a younger audience. It's not an overall bad decision one way or another. A lot of the users are trying to get Ubisoft to vie for two separate builds of the game, where one is the one in China that they can use just themselves, where it doesn't contain any of the imagery that they don't want, whereas the other one would keep everything in it as it is. I don't see an issue with that, but from a developing standpoint, I can see the issue there. They would have to maintain two builds of a game where it's easier to maintain one. From a business standpoint, it's a smart decision to only have one universal build of a game where everything is the same. They only have to maintain it once. And on the other hand, from the user standpoint, all of this imagery and these different icons have been in the game for the 3 years that the game's been out. That's all they've known. And it's not a big deal, but to them, it's a part of the game now. They've known it, they've recognized it for the last 3 years, and they wish for it to still be in the game. If it had not been in the game from the beginning, I don't think there would be an issue with that. And like the article says, they state the same thing. It wouldn't have been an issue if it was never there. But the fact is,
it is there, and now they're censoring themselves in order to fall in line for a bigger audience. Personally, I don't really have an issue with it. It's just that there's so much backlash recently on their subreddit, on their Twitter. Everyone is posting things about how they are being censored by China now. Like, just look at this Steam picture that I took. Just look at this picture from Steam that I took, I mean. Now, I love these sarcastic comments. They're pretty funny. Of course, they're not actually being censored by China.
Hey, China here, we're censoring you.
I think. But it'd be pretty funny if they weren't and they're just saying that. Because it is a statement that they're trying to make. And even though I don't really care, yeah, I mean, why should we? We don't need to follow that build. So overall, I'm just kind of like, do what you want. It's your game, you know? Like, I buy it, but it's still their property, you know? I'm taking a bit of their property, you know? And they're hosting my ability to play on it, you know? So it's not truly mine, but I don't know where I was going with this statement. Oh yeah. Okay. So it's their game. They can do what they want, right? Yeah, I said that. So I still don't. I forgot what I remembered I was gonna say. Ah, yes, I remember my point now. It's the gameplay doesn't change. The only thing is the aesthetic changes, and to me, that's not an issue. But to everyone else, it's a big issue. Well, it's back for me to back.
Get out of my seat, Tim. I will pound you to the floor. One more like thing like that. I'm just gonna take this hand right here and just crush your head with it. You know what I'm saying? Get out of my seat. Get out of my seat. Check out the watch. It's time for you to leave. Peace at last. In conclusion, I think that this whole thing has been just very strange to me. This has all happened within like a week or two of each other, and it just seems it's very strange that once again video games are getting backlash from the media, which is just it's a cycle that endlessly loops on itself. Honestly, I don't know if I could entirely pinpoint the cause of all this, but if I had to make an educated guess, I'd say it's just out of touch people who don't quite understand how video games actually work, who just want to be upset about something. And when something even remotely controversial comes up with video games, the new art form on the block, they have to have a problem with that. They have to find a reason to demonize it or find a reason why it is immoral and stands to hurt society. But of course, my opinion is that all of that is completely garbage. So honestly, I feel like nobody really takes these articles too seriously anymore, besides people who are equally out of touch as the people who've read the articles. In conclusion, to wrap this video up, I feel like I need a strong moral message to take home to push to the kids in the audience here. So, Red Dead Redemption 2, 10 out of 10, great game. Play it if you're sexist, play it if you're not sexist, I don't care. Play Super Smash Bros, also a great game. Play it if you hate Native Americans, play it if you don't hate Native Americans. I don't care at all. Play Rainbow Six Siege if you want to be censored by China, if you want to be censored by China, and if you want to be